Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived in a cozy little house in a beautiful forest. There was the father bear, the mother bear, and the baby bear. Each of them had their own bed to sleep in, a chair to sit on, and a pot and spoon for their favorite meal: porridge with milk and honey. One sunny morning, the three bears decided to take a walk before breakfast. Before leaving, they poured their warm porridge into their pots, hoping it would cool down by the time they returned. As they set off on their walk, Mr. and Mrs. Bear walked arm in arm, while Baby Bear happily ran alongside them. "What a fine day it is," growled Mr. Bear. "What a fine day it is," said Mrs. Bear. "What a fine day," squeaked Little Bear. And so it was. The sun shone brightly, casting its rays on the glistening spider webs in the grass. The leaves rustled gently in the breeze, and the birds filled the air with their melodious songs. The woodland creatures added to the symphony with their own sounds: the chirping of the sparrows, the buzzing of bees, and even a friendly butterfly landed on Mr. Bear's nose. Mr. Bear chuckled and brushed off the butterfly, remarking on the high-pitched noises the woodland creatures made. He wished they had deep voices like the bears. Mrs. Bear playfully complimented Mr. Bear's voice, saying it was even finer than the lark's. Mr. Bear humbly responded that his growl was nothing compared to a lion's mighty roar. And so, the bears continued their walk, enjoying each other's company and the beauty of the forest. Meanwhile, in the same forest, lived a sweet little girl named Goldilocks. She was the daughter of a woodman, and her golden locks shimmered like sunbeams. Goldilocks had a deep love for nature and knew every tree and flower in the greenwood. The creatures of the forest adored her, and she adored them in return. As she strolled through the woods, the trees gently leaned toward her, and the birds serenaded her with their songs. Goldilocks cherished their love and often wished she could sing as beautifully as the lark. One day, Goldilocks stumbled upon the bear's house. Intrigued, she peeped through the open window, curious about who lived there. Inside, she saw a table with 3 chairs and 3 pots of steaming hot porridge, but no sign of anyone else. "Dear me," thought Goldilocks, "whose house can it be? There is a table and 3 chairs, and 3 pots of hot porridge, all steaming, and no one to eat it. But I don't see any work or books, or anything else. I think I will go in and see who lives here." So she tapped at the door, and cried, "Is anyone at home?" But there was no answer. Then Goldilocks stepped in very carefully, and looked about her. She could not see anyone, nor hear anybody snoring, so she walked into the bear's parlor. There was a fire, which made the room cheerful, and the hot porridge looked very inviting. It quite seemed to say, "Come and have some breakfast." And the early spring air had made Goldilocks rather hungry. She tasted the porridge from each pot and found that Baby Bears had just the right amount of honey. Goldilocks couldn't resist the inviting porridge and sat down in Baby Bear's chair. Unluckily, Baby Bear's chair was much too small for her. She broke the seat and fell right through, breaking it all up. Finishing the tasty pot of porridge, Goldilocks then ventured upstairs and discovered 3 beds in a row. Seeking comfort, she first laid on Father Bear's bed but found it too hard. Next, she tried Mother Bear's bed, but it was too soft. Finally, she settled on Baby Bear's bed, and quickly fell asleep, exhausted from her adventures. Soon after, the bears returned home. They approached the table and noticed their disturbed breakfasts. Father Bear angrily questioned, "Who has touched my pot?" Mother Bear echoed his outrage.
"Who has touched my pot?"
Baby Bear whimpered, "Somebody has eaten mine all up." Hungry and upset, he longed for his own pot and chair after their long walk. Upon seeing his broken chair, Baby Bear cried out in his squeaky voice, "Somebody has been here!" Father Bear growled, "Somebody has been here." And Mother Bear, in a softer tone, growled, "Somebody has been here." Baby Bear began to cry, for he was very fond of his own pot and his own chair, and, besides, he was very hungry after his long walk in the forest. Seeing this, the bears decided to look about the house. They climbed the stairs to their bedroom and were startled by the messy beds. Father Bear growled. Who has been lying on my bed? Mother Bear echoed his question. Who has been lying on my bed? Baby Bear piped up. Oh! Here is a little girl in my bed. She must be the one who ate my breakfast and broke my chair. The bears became angry, growling in unison. Let us eat her up. As Goldilocks woke up to the angry growls of the bears, fear gripped her heart. She sat up in Baby Bear's bed and looked at the three bears towering over her. Their fierce expressions frightened her, and she quickly realized she had made a mistake by entering their house and eating their porridge. Terrified, she thought she might jump out of the window. Instead, tears welled up in Goldilocks' eyes as she trembled in front of the bears. I'm so sorry, she stammered, her voice filled with sincerity. I didn't mean to cause any harm. I was just curious and hungry. Father Bear, still filled with anger, grumbled. Curiosity can sometimes lead to trouble, young lady. Mother Bear, sensing the girl's remorse, spoke with a gentler voice. We understand that you were hungry, but you should have asked for permission before entering our home and eating our food. Baby Bear, his eyes filled with both sadness and compassion, added. And you should have respected our belongings and not broken my chair. Feeling regretful and truly sorry for her actions, Goldilocks nodded and said, You're right. I should have asked for permission and respected your things. I apologize for my thoughtlessness. The three bears exchanged glances, and their stern expressions softened. They saw the genuine remorse in Goldilocks' eyes and felt a sense of compassion for the young girl. Father Bear cleared his throat and with a kinder tone, said, Everyone makes mistakes, young lady. What's important is that we learn from them. We accept your apology. Mother Bear nodded approvingly and continued. But now, let's focus on finding a solution. How about instead of eating you up, we find a way to make amends? Goldilocks' face lit up with hope, grateful for the offer of forgiveness. Oh, yes, please. I would do anything to make things right. The bears smiled at her response, appreciating her willingness to make amends. Father Bear walked over to the broken chair and began fixing it with his strong paws, demonstrating his patience and expertise. Mother Bear turned to Goldilocks and said, While your actions did cause some inconvenience, perhaps you could help us with small tasks around the house to make up for it? Goldilocks eagerly nodded, relieved that the bears were willing to give her a chance to make things right. She spent the day helping them sweep the floor, tidy up their home, and even collect berries and honeycomb from the nearby woods. Throughout the day, as they worked together, Goldilocks and the bears discovered that they shared a love for nature and a gentle spirit. They laughed, shared stories, and realized that friendships can blossom even in unexpected circumstances. By the end of the day, the house was clean, the chair was fixed, and Goldilocks thanked the bears for their kindness and patience. She promised never to enter someone's home uninvited again and to always treat others' belongings with respect. The three bears smiled, pleased with Goldilocks' newfound understanding and growth. They bid her farewell and wished her well on her journey through the greenwood. From that day forward, Goldilocks remembered the lessons she learned from the three bears. She always sought permission, showed respect, and approached new experiences with curiosity tempered by consideration for others. And in the peaceful forest, the friendship between Goldilocks and the three bears continued to grow, reminding them all of the power of forgiveness, understanding, and the beauty of second chances. The end. Thanks for watching. See you next time.